Mike has been a longtime client of Vintage King through the years, and he came, started working here at Power Station New England, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago now, and was looking to rejuvenate the studio, so to speak. So we started talking about sort of his vision for the company, and what they wanted to do with this room. Mike DiBiase had called, a bunch of people, and hey, what was the board that was in there? What was the board that was in there? So we were on the hunt for a Neve 8068.
I felt that the board needed to be as legendary as the room that it was going in.
We waited patiently, and then this board came to Vintage King. We had the serial number. We started looking up the pedigree.
From what we've been able to gather, in 1978, it was built at the factory, and the first place it went to was Electric Lady. After that, it went to the record plant, and then it ended up at Pachyderm. Some of the records that we found out were cut on this were John Lennon's Double Fantasy, AC/DC mix Back in Black on it. Van Halen recorded all of their pre-Van Halen 1 demos on it, and Nirvana cut In Utero on it.
Some great records were done on this board, but it needed some love.
We cleaned the frame inside out, clean all the wiring looms, the modules inside out, and then we recapped and serviced every module on the desk, and the power supplies, the frame, any kind of random capacitors. Cleaned all the switches and potentiometers. This one we replaced all the faders with new P&G faders. There was a older automation system that wasn't going to be used anymore. So we had new faceplates made. We recovered the armrest, did new woodwork on the sides, painted panels, made new panels.
Power Station entrusted us to do the premium servicing, and there were some mods that were requested of us to do.
We consulted with Ed Evans, and we talked with Rich and all the guys at Vintage King, and we came up with a couple of solutions that I think will make the console a lot more appropriate for people and have a lot more things that people would expect to be a convenience in the studio.
We incorporated a external monitor switcher box and 2-track selector. That way they could have multiple speaker outputs for multiple sets of speakers switching. And we also incorporated a 2-track input selector device, which will allow them to have multiple 2-track returns coming in of, say, computer, DAT machine, 1/4-inch, 1/2-inch machine, anything like that they can monitor back from into the desk. We also added buffering and switching on the meters so that it could switch between 2 different sources to meter different sources in addition to the original Neve switching. And the meters are buffered now to reduce distortion and help, just in general, keep it more consistent levels and be able to align the meters better.
It's always nice when the tech that services the board can come out and install it, because we do final testing at Vintage King, and then this thing traveled across the country, and our shipping staff does a great job of packaging, but this board's 40 years old. It took a couple 1,000-mile trip. We love when we're able to see it through to final install to make sure that the job is done to our standards and correct.
I think the biggest part was trying to get the engineer, the artistic thing to happen with the technical thing. And I think what Rich was really good at was when Ed and I would talk about, this is what we need to happen with Pro Tools, and this desk is so limited, how do we make those things happen? And between Ed and Rich and watching those guys talk, and it was actually really awesome to have that whole process. And at the end of the day, I think Rich nailed all of the mods that we asked for and the restoration.
Rich has been doing this for more than 10 years now, and I mean, he commissioned the 8078 that's currently an Electric Lady, and he's commissioned this 8068 that at one point was an Electric Lady. I don't know many techs that get to say that don't work for Electric Lady.
Everybody from the camera guys to management to the sales guys, everybody in the troughs, pulling cables, not afraid to say, I don't do that. And to me, that's what this whole philosophy behind the studio really is. It's all about nobody's bigger than the task, and we want this to be a place that everybody can come and feel comfortable and nobody's above anything else.
It's been an over 2-year process now. It wasn't just, hey, here's my gear list, this is what I need the best prices, let's move. It was a partnership. We worked together to get this room to where it's at, and I think a ton of great records are going to be done in this room, and I'm excited to see what's going to come out of here.